Thurgood Marshall, right? Charles Hamilton Houston, Pauli Murray. But I'm not just around Black people. I'm around a special kind of Black people. The Howard name recognition and network, baby, okay? Like, you say Howard. Today, I'm going to talk to you all about why I chose the Howard University School of Law to attend law school. So if you're interested in Howard Law, or if you're not and you need to be, then keep watching, and I'm just gonna give you the tea on why this is the best law school, period, okay? So if this interests you and if it's helpful, then like, comment, subscribe, and I'll have more videos like this coming to you soon. I took notes as always because I don't want to leave anything out. So first thing, Black people. I wanted to be at a school where I got to experience not being the minority. I went to Vanderbilt University for undergrad, and that's definitely a PWI. And it's a beautiful campus, beautiful place. I love Vanderbilt, and it's given so much to me. But at the same time, I just wanted for once in my life to experience what it would be like to be the majority. And also to have that very familial atmosphere. And that's not to take away from other schools. You can be like a family and have a supportive environment at a school that just breeds a supportive environment. But there's something different and very special about being in a nation where laws were often created and used against people of color and Black people specifically. And now you finally get to practice law, because we weren't even allowed to attend law school at a time, right? But now you finally get to practice law, and you are doing it in this space with other people who are aware of the beauty of that. And that is amazing. Another reason I was interested in applying to Howard University School of Law is because Thurgood Marshall, right? Charles Hamilton Houston, Pauli Murray, like these names, these are people who were real social changers. They shook things up, and they were committed to social justice and making the world a better place for Black people, which makes it a better place for people in general. And so with that, I wanted to learn the law through the lens of not just the Black letter law, but the implications of it, the roots of it, the things that you may not talk about in class at other law schools, right? And so I have some key things from classes that I took where I learned things that I wouldn't have learned at law school at most other law schools. That's not to say you wouldn't learn this at any law school, disclaimer, but at most other law schools you wouldn't learn this. And so for my property class, for example, love that professor. For our first class, we entered, and we didn't immediately start talking about the Black letter law of property. And by Black letter law, I mean just simply, what is the law? What does it state? We started by talking about the implications of the law, property law, and the impact that it has had on people of color, and the disparities that exist between Black people and white people because of property laws. And this is so key because it traces like from where we were to where we are now, and maybe why we still see that people of color may not have so many of the things that other people do. That was very key for me, and I thought, wow, this is very important. Also, too, in my civil procedure class, when we were talking about the Batson case, we paused and we had a moment to watch a video about Ahmaud Arbery's murder. And we talked about what we had learned in class in the context of that. And our professor had a moment where he said, I'm going to fast forward because I'm not going to show the part where this young man gets killed. And it's that awareness, right? that collective Black consciousness and concern for Black life. It's that pausing to talk about what's going on in the world for Black people and people of color. And learning the law through that lens is so key. Even in my constitutional law class, for example, we talked about the Brown versus Board of Education case. This is a case that is heralded as a champion case for Black people in desegregation. And while it did achieve a lot, most people don't talk about the opinion and the paternalistic nature of what we see within the opinion of that Supreme Court case, essentially stating, but we talked about this in class, essentially stating that Black people need to be around white people and educated around white people in order to get an enriched education, right? And so while we did away with segregation, there was still a paternalistic nature in the root of the reasoning for doing away with it. And if I were at most other law schools, we wouldn't talk about that. We just simply wouldn't, right? But this is important to me. This is the lens through which I get to learn the law at the Howard University School of Law, and no other compares. But anyway, I've never been too caught up in law school rank. I just kind of didn't care that much, but I did, because I'm inquisitive, take a moment to think about why law school rank matters. And the only reason I could think of that I would care about law school rank is that I could get opportunities that maybe I felt I couldn't get at other law schools. But then I was like, well, what opportunities do you want specifically? Ultimately, I want the law school experience to culminate in a job, right? So then I looked at Howard Law and I noticed that the average starting salary of Howard Law graduates surpasses that of some top 14 law schools. And so I was like, and it wasn't far off from those who were at the top. So I was like, seems like I'll get the opportunity to make money, which isn't the most important thing, but paying off student loans, I definitely want to start at a job where I can make some money. So I was just kind of like, and I'll talk more about that in the video entitled, Does Law School Rank Really Matter? But when I saw that it was very comparable to top 14 law schools in terms of average starting salary, it was kind of like, okay. Basically, I was just racking up the positives about Howard University School of Law, even though I already knew I wanted to go. That was my first choice. And then the location, being able to be in Washington, D.C., which has small and big city vibes. Like, it's not so big that I'm annoyed. It's not so small that I'm bored. It just seems kind of perfect, really. And it's the location of a lot of opportunities. A lot of recruiters will go to DC, New York, like these widely known areas. And then the Howard name recognition and network, baby, okay? Like, you say Howard, most people have heard of Howard, right? And you have a network of people looking out for each other like they are family, whether you went to Howard undergrad, Howard Law, Howard Med, whatever. They know the name, people recognize the name, and they have to respect it. This is the school, Howard University School of Law, where the first Black Supreme Court justice graduated. Hello. And then what has pleasantly surprised me, I'm going to conclude with that, because I wanted to be around Black people to have that familiar environment and all that. But what pleasantly surprised me is that I'm not just around Black people. I'm around a special kind of Black people who recognize the significance of the moment that we are in and the place that we are in, where we are in law school and we are learning to use the law to help our people who want to help our people, who want to create social change. And you can do that in a lot of different ways. You can work in corporate law and create social change. I mean, that's what I'll be doing initially to pay off some of these student loans. Hello. But you can do these things and still create social change and do things for the Lord's kingdom. So I just love seeing that I'm around so many Black people at Howard Law who, regardless of the different things that they want to do with their law degree, ultimately, almost all of us want to help mankind and want to help those who are people of color as well, because you can't help mankind without helping the least of these, right? The people who have been disenfranchised. So Howard University School of Law is a very special place. It's a beautiful place. I am honored to attend it. It was my first choice law school. Honestly, I did not apply to very many law schools. I was just like, that's where I want to go, period. I was kind of like, if I don't get in, I'll just apply next year. That's how much I love this place. But anyway, if you all have any questions or you're considering attending Howard Law or considering applying, then definitely leave a comment below, or you can contact me on Instagram DM if it's more private and you want to be connected with a mentor, someone who actually attends Howard University School of Law already and can maybe give you some insight. Like, I can probably pair you with someone from your hometown or someone who has a similar background to you. If you would like that, then yeah, you can DM me on Instagram or just leave a comment below. I hope this was helpful to you all. And I hope that I have faith that you will end up at the school that is intended for you. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.